Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you have noticed that Japanese Pokemon TCG cards have absolutely exploded onto the scene here in the past few months. Not that they haven't been popular in the past, but there is a drastic, is there any other words you can think of? Tubular, huge, what do you got? Anything?
Definitely
Give me one.
tubular.
Give me one.
No, I like tubular.
Ginormous.
I'm down for that.
Okay. There's a big difference, everyone, between Japanese Pokemon cards 6 months ago, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, and where they are sitting right now. And I buy a lot of Japanese boxes. I go through a lot of Japanese cards for myself, for my streams, all that kind of stuff. So I've noticed a significant difference. So the big question is here, like Nate, why do you think more people are paying attention to Japanese Pokemon cards right now than they ever have?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a lot of different factors, right? But when it comes down to it, I think the easiest answer is that, that we're at the end of an era, where, Pokemon just got huge, right? It blew up all around the world and everything like that. And I just think that, now that we're at the end of this era and we just have so many like beautiful artworks and everything like that on cards, like, I don't think you can really argue that, the first half of Sword and Shield is better than the second half of the Sword and Shield era. So like now that we have all these beautiful cards in the second half of the Sword and Shield era, I think people are just really realizing, not just here, in the US, but really all around the world, like how special these Japanese cards are, and, really understanding like, those are the original Pokemon cards. Like those are Pokemon cards, the Japanese cards, right? Like we get all the reprints and everything. We've talked about that here before.
A lot of people forget that. They
but
really
when
do.
I think, they do, truthfully. But when I think it's, like I said, I think that's the easiest answer, right? That it's just where we're at now is, I think, way different than where we were 2 years ago.
That's
in terms
definitely
of
true.
The artworks and everything.
It's definitely true. Pokemon's on another level. In terms of popularity, it's I don't want to say that it's 1999 popular, but it's as popular as it's ever been. From 2020, 21, 22, even right now, to 99, 2000, 2001. Like in between, nothing has reached these heights. Now, and one of the things that I think logistically, because here we're actually going to talk about prices here in a second to show you guys our factoids, our little sprinkle of nuggets of statistics here, so you guys can see that we're not just talking out of our booty holes. Now, but one of the reasons why I think Japanese cards might be getting a big focus right now is that people are ready to transition into the new style that's coming to the English TCG. And now that they're not as different as they used to be, I think people are going to want to invite that and bring that in. And it feels more similar, right? It feels more familiar than before, when you had all the gray border cards and the set symbols were different. On top of that, you couldn't even read the name of the Pokemon or the type of attack that it did and all of that type of stuff, right? It was literally a completely different entity than it was before. And now it's Scarlet and Violet, because we're seeing massive popularity around Scarlet and Violet. The only thing that is really changing on these cards, as far as we know, is the language and the wording on the card. Everything else is the same now. The border's the same. The hollow's the same. The set number on the bottom of the card is the same. All of these things being the same are making more people get into the Japanese Pokemon hobby more so than they did before. Like, what do you think about that? You think there's some there?
Yeah. No, I think you're really onto something there. I didn't really think about that before, but yeah, the whole unifying, of Pokemon, definitely I think helps the popularity there. Another thing I was kind of thinking as well is, I guess those are technically the last era of, the original gray bordered cards, right?
Oh, that's true.
They're going to continue to still have gray borders in Japanese. But it's a little bit different for us here, that have had those yellow borders for the last 26, 27 years. But yeah, I definitely think you're right there. I mean, the popularity is huge around Scarlet and Violet. I don't know if it was this popular, if people were this hyped around the Sword and Shield era when that first started. That's kind of like right when I came in.
I was there for it.
Yeah, but I was going to say it didn't feel quite like this. I wasn't quite into Pokemon as hardcore as I am now. But yeah, it definitely didn't feel, as hype as it does right now with the Scarlet and Violet.
For sure, for sure. So let's go ahead and get into some actual prices here, right? So what we're going to be talking about first here are the actual Pokemon TCG Violet EX boxes and Scarlet EX boxes. Now, it is kind of tough to get Japanese product here in the United States. So we are specifically in these price ranges talking about Japanese sealed product being able to be purchased in the United States, right? So there's a lot of different other sites out there, but almost everything has the exact same prices. And it's almost hard to say eBay is really still going to be your most affordable and cheapest place to get it. And honestly, guys, Amazon is a pretty decent place to get your Japanese Pokemon cards right now, especially with Scarlet and Violet and how they have the new serrated boxes in the front. So now you know for a fact that they are not tampered with. Before, Amazon was having some issues with Japanese Pokemon cards, with the boxes being resealed, because Japanese packs are weighable. Don't know if you guys know that, but they are 100% weighable. So they were being resealed, right? People were opening them, weighing them, taking out the heavy packs, and then resealing them back up and selling them, which you can't do anymore because they have the new serrated front, to where when you tear the front off, you can't simply just put it back. 100% you can tell the difference, okay? So if you receive a box that is serrated and ripped, return it, first of all. After that, don't worry about 100%. It. But the Violet EX box, right now, I'm looking at eBay listings right now, $149.99 for a Violet EX box. But the reason why I'm mentioning this listing is because it's one of the more popular listings with 175 sold boxes. So there has been 175 sold Violet EX boxes at $150. That's an extreme price. Now, on the flip side, Scarlet EX going for about $90, significantly less, but there's 152 sold on that listing from the same seller. Now, you will see ranges for Violet go between $125, $130, all the way up to $150. If you find the right one, you can get it for like $105, $110 if you find the right seller, but they're hard to come by and they go quick. Scarlet, I haven't really been able to find it anywhere less than $90, so that is actually not a bad buy. The reason why Violet is worth so much more is because it has Miriam inside, that alternate art, full art Miriam, which we pulled here on the stream last Friday, was absolutely a freaking bananas, guys. $700 card. $650, $700 card. That's why the Violet box is worth so much. And just to kind of stay within the current scheme of things here, the V-Star Universe boxes still consistently going for $95 to $100 on eBay. I don't even know if they have them over on Amazon right now, but $95 consistently. Most of the time, again, over $100 for V-Star Universe right here. $104.99 is one of the popular listings with over 600 boxes sold of V-Star Universe. Again, guys, just to put this in perspective, MSRP pricing on these boxes is $55. $55 is the American dollar equivalent of whatever they go for in Japanese yen. So you're looking at 2x MSRP, and in some cases, people were buying the Pokemon Violet boxes for almost 3x MSRP. Never had that problem with boxes in the past. Never before. What do you think this explosion is happening here? And why do you think the Miriam is $700?
I mean, we could go down a huge rabbit hole with that, but this is just right. It's blowing my mind, kind of, just how expensive this has gotten. Because, you said like $55, $60, that's right around MSRP. That's a good price to pay, for a standard Japanese booster box, which is technically half, in this case with Scarlet EX, Violet EX, each of those are half of the set. So you're paying for half of the set for $50. Our booster boxes, and typically go anywhere from 100 to 140, depending on where you're getting it, so $55, $60 for half of the set, that kind of makes sense. But when you're getting up there to the 100, up to 150, for one box, and that's only half the set, that's kind of crazy to me. That just blows my mind. And I do understand, there's that $700 Miriam card, inside of Violet. But man, $150 for a booster box is quite hefty. Like I don't even, I don't even know if I've bought a booster box, an English booster box for $150. I try to, definitely find them less than that. So pulling the trigger on a Japanese booster box for that amount, it's a tough decision to make for me. I don't know how many Violet booster boxes I'm going to be getting at 150. I can tell you that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And I'm kind of bummed because I used to love getting my hands on at least one or two Japanese booster boxes for myself, to open up so I can see what was coming for the English release. And something else that's kind of happening is these Japanese sets, they're coming out significantly earlier than they used to. So, like, for the last couple of sets, we got Crown Zenith, like, 2 months? Almost like that longer after V-Star Universe? Like, we got V-Star...
It was quite the wait, because I was itching to get some Crown Zenith after opening up some V-Star Universe.
Dude, we pretty much got V-Star Universe, like, at the exact same time that United States got, like, Silver Tempest. It might have even shared the same release day.
It might have been the same day.
I think it was the same release day.
I think it did.
And it was the exact same thing for Crown Zenith and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So when we got Crown Zenith, the United States, Japan, in Japan, they released Scarlet EX and Violet EX. So, like, that's way early. Normally, it would be, maybe like a month before release. 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before pre-releases started for United States sets. The Japanese stuff would come out, but we're looking at a whole set ahead of time. Like, they've already announced Triple Beat, and I believe they announced the Triple Beat release day is the same day that we are getting Pokemon Scarlet and Violet in the United States.
Wow.
So I do think that's another one of the reasons why these prices have skyrocketed, because it almost feels like if you're a hardcore Pokemon collector, you do both English and Japanese. You do. Hardcore collectors do both. I get the casual collector doesn't. Hardcore collectors do. Okay? So for the hardcore Pokemon collectors, you almost feel like as an English Pokemon card collector, you're getting yesterday's news. Like you're getting the leftovers at this point, when before it was like, okay, this set, and then it comes out in English, and this set, and like that was fine. But we are literally now getting a previous set than what's coming out in Japan, which kind of blows my mind. Do you think that has a big effect on, one, collectors in general, and two, maybe seeing that might be why these prices might be going up?
Yeah, I definitely do. Because, I mean, with myself opening up, I only opened up one V-Star Universe.
Me too, because it's so expensive.
But, exactly.
It is fun, though. It's a good box.
But after that, I just said I was itching to open up Crown Zenith. But, like, that, that urge to do it was definitely a little bit less after I had opened up that box. I had got that first initial, like, ooh, like, these are the cards that I'm going to get. In English, I'm super excited and everything. And then I didn't have that necessarily, like, that first experience with Crown Zenith, first opening up a set, because I kind of felt like I already opened it up a little bit, and I was thinking too, like, I wonder how much, and I don't think it's affecting it in any major ways right now because we're so early on with it, but I wonder how much, like, this, is affecting, the English sets being sold, because like you said, Scarlet and Violet came out, as soon as Crown Zenith came out, and V-Star Universe came out on the same day Silver Tempest came out, or right around the same time.
So now we're going to be reviewing prices of previous Japanese booster boxes, because they have gone up significantly as well, which is very strange. We're going to be talking about other Sword and Shield boxes, and maybe even older, right? So the first one I want to bring up is actually Fusion Arts, which, of course, as you guys know, is basically Fusion Strike, right? So Fusion Arts is the big set in Japan, where it was Fusion Strike in the United States, probably the least favorite set in English Sword and Shield. It definitely since the post Evolving Skies era. Now, I used to be able to buy these booster boxes for $68 a piece, consistently $65 a piece. They have now these prices I'm giving you guys that I was buying them for last month. Okay. These were prices on boxes last month. Not 6 months ago, not 7 months ago. I was paying these prices last month. Okay? Fusion Arts, $68. I can't find it anywhere less than $90, $95 right now. Absolutely insane of a price jump. Even Pokemon Go is up. Even Pokemon Go is up to like 80, 85 bucks when they couldn't
crazy.
give it to me for 45 before. I was consistently getting Starbirth, which is the good half of Brilliant Stars. It's the Japanese set that has the Charizards inside, where you can get the alternate art Charizard and Arceus, right? I was getting it for $70 to $72 a box, literally last month. Again, right now, I can't find it for anything less than $95 to $100. Again, you're looking at 30% increases on sets that are not that old. Now, I don't know if they have confirmed that they're completely out of print, which I'm sure they were out of print before, because the way they do it here in English, at least, is that like stuff doesn't print forever, but they print a lot and then it goes into a storage and then they release it slowly. The one that had the biggest jump for me recently was actually Lost Abyss. I was able to get Lost Abyss consistently for $72, $73, and now I cannot find that box for under $100 pretty much anywhere from the sources that I buy Japanese Pokemon cards from consistently. And that's not even mentioning these other sets from maybe late Sun and Moon era that I was able to get for $9,500. Now I have to, if I want them, I got to do $140, $150 for these boxes. Way up in price. The only boxes that really haven't changed are Dark Phantasma and Battle Region. You can still consistently get those boxes for right around $60, $63. And I believe those are two fantastic sets. I think they're underrated, undervalued, and would be worth picking up. They're part of these special enhanced expansion sets, and they're just really good all the way around. So, Nate, what do you think about those price swings when they read it too? Because I'm telling you, these were prices last month, dude. Last freaking month.
Right. That's the crazy thing, is just how fast those prices turned around. I mean, you're talking some of those boxes you were buying for 60, 60, maybe $70 or are up over 100 now in a month is crazy. And, I think, I truly think like a big thing of it is probably that it really is the supply. I'm kind of thinking as you were talking there, and, Japan doesn't print Pokemon cards to supply the world, right? They print Pokemon cards to supply Japan, and whatever makes it out of there, that's what we get. Right. So I already feel like exactly. I already feel like the supply is just way lower, right? Way lower than what we get here. When they start printing a new English set. It's got to be, right? The country's
a lot smaller.
Well,
and English cards get released in a lot more places than just the United States as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And you could kind of look at it the other way. Like, yes, English cards are kind of, more printed for the world. I understand there's a lot more other languages out there. Not every other country has just English cards. But, when you look at it, when Japanese cards are only coming from Japan, Japan's only printing them for Japan. I think that's why we're seeing, I think that's why the prices have jumped up so quickly, right? And not necessarily as slow as we see them kind of climb with some products in English here.
That makes a lot of sense. If they're printing, for lack of a better term, like per capita, right? If they're printing per capita in Japan, right, as they, do in English, way less product. Even if the percentages are the same, way less product. And what I was looking at over here that was distracting me is I can already see that Triple Beat pre-orders for that new box is $105 right now. Insane. We don't even know what's inside. We know that it's focused around the 3 starters. Starters are ass, so I don't know why anybody would be excited about that in the first place. But unless there's a killer alternate art trainer card in there, another waifu, of course, because that just does it for people, I guess. Weird. Not weird. If you guys like it, cool for you. Weird for me. But $105 to pre-order, like these people, and the other thing that kind of drives me crazy is I'm seeing all this is like, all this stuff is getting, these sellers are from Japan. You might go, oh, well, that makes sense. Why? I'm not on, I guess what I'm saying is I have people in Japan that live in Japan that I talk to frequently who are having a hard time finding product for themselves in Japan, and I think that's because they're unloading them for twice MSRP to the United States. That's what I think is also happening over there, and I think that's why, if a Japanese TCG shop owner has the ability to get $150 for a Violet EX, and that's US money. So in Japan, that's like 180, So you're getting 180 yen on a $55 MSRP product. They're going to do it all day long. As a shop owner, you're almost obligated.
Why wouldn't you as a business?
Yeah, you're almost obligated to, right? Like, I mean, geez, imagine if you had stockholders and told them the opposite. It wouldn't happen.
Right.
But yeah, so I think that's kind of what's happening across the board. And then you have the American sellers, the United States sellers, who are, cutting deals with people in Japan to get bulk stuff, and then they're the ones jacking up the price here in the United States as well. So it's, six in one hand, half dozen in the other, I guess. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Do you think this is something that's going to maintain for the Japanese Pokemon TCG? You think it's going to? Do you think these outrageous prices are going to continue?
I mean, I feel like that's the trend that we're seeing. I mean, there's just more and more people every day. I hear talking about Japanese cards, more interested in it. I mean, a set comes with a $700 card you can pull in it. I mean, people are going to start talking about it, regardless of what language it's in, I think. So yeah, I mean, I feel like this is the trend. I mean, it's always been like, Japanese stuff has been, at least for us here in the US has been, a little bit more on the cheaper end for us. And I think it's almost time,
it's where not anymore.
where it kind of, where it's just not, and, people really realize, and appreciate it for what it is and everything like that. I think, it
really is good.
I mean, you can't beat the quality of Japanese cards, and like the artwork's just kind of hit a little bit different, I feel like. So, I mean, it's
what
good
else
stuff.
could be happening too is we could be having more hardcore collectors. We're getting more hardcore collectors than they were in the past.
I mean, we have to after the big boom.
And there's definitely a lot more collectors that are 35 years old than there were in 1999 that understand how to get these types of things before. When back in the day, if I wanted Japanese Pokemon cards, I had to hope that my LGS had some. I just had to hope.
Right. You had to know somebody.
I just had to hope. I was like, oh my gosh, I really hope they have somewhere. Oh no, they sold out their box. Oh darn. To where nowadays, between all of the e-commerce and all that stuff going on, and everybody being educated on how to get that type of stuff, from Japan to the United States, times thousand times more now than it was in the past. So,
it's an easy Google search. You can find whatever Japanese booster box you want.
Yep.
Just gotta make sure you're buying it from a good reputable place. But I mean, it's way easier to find. Yeah, exactly. It's way easier to find than it was. I mean, even a couple of years ago, when I got into it, I mean, I wasn't looking too hard, but I know it wasn't this easy, to find Japanese booster boxes.
Yep. I feel you on that, man. All right, guys, that's it for our conversation here on Next Level TCG. If you are a fan of Pokemon trading cards and you enjoy listening to two men with sexy voices talk back and forth, make sure you drop a subscribe here on the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future conversations about the Pokemon TCG. Smash that like button as well and let us know down in the comment section, why do you think Japanese Pokemon cards are hotter than they ever have been in the past? We love chatting with every single one of you guys down there. So much fun. Nate, send us home.
Yeah, guys, I got to say it. You guys got to fight that FOMO on the triple beat. Do not put in a pre-order without even knowing what is in the set. Make sure we have a set list first before you put that money down.
Absolutely, guys. See you guys on the Friday night stream as well. We're going to have more Scarlet and Violet being able to be purchased. Check it out, TCGfunhouse.com. We're live streaming, breaking every single Friday night, guys. And if you want to level up, I almost messed up our own exit. You ready? All right. All right, hold on. Here we go. If you want to level up, you got to be kind and be yourself.